Hello everyone and welcome back to the second episode in how to create an interactive HUD in C++ part 2. So in this episode we're just going to be fine-tuning the progress bar, which is the health bar. We're also going to be setting up a game timer for the player. So we'll probably put this at maybe like 5 minutes just to show it works. I have used this in previous projects, and the third thing is generally just showing how to use timer functions in C++. So let's jump in straight away with the health bar. So with the health bar, we'll jump in. I'm going to go into Style, Background Image, and Marquee Image. But I'm going to jump in Background Image first. I'll show you how we want the progress bar to look more vibrant and stand out a lot more. So you want to change the Draw As to a rounded box. Then you want to maybe put the width at 6. As you see, it's rounded it on all sides. Change the rounding type to fixed radius. So then with the corner radius, we can change each individual corner. So if you do 30 for the first and 30 for the last, you'll have the left side curved. But you can also put a black outline on it by changing the outline color here, changing the alpha on it to 1. And as you can see, that's give us a black outline to make it stand out a lot more. It'll look a lot more better in the vibrant background we've got when playing the game. So with that, we want to do the same for the fill image and marquee image. Quick little tip to do it all dead quick will be just to copy, click on the background image, copy, and then click paste, and then you'll notice it's all changed the same as what the background image is. Most people, like myself in the past, have individually typed them all in on each one, which just wastes unnecessary time, but it's a great little tip I've learned just to copy and paste them in. Next thing we're going to do on the health bar is change the bar fill type to, I think it's right to left. I think I previously had it at left to right, but I'll show you why. Because it fills from the right, it fills upwards from the right, and when you lose health it goes from the left downwards, which as you can see here would look normal for playing the game. It'd look a bit strange if you had it the other way around, like I'll show you now. Yeah, it doesn't look right, does it? So we're going to do right to left. So that's perfect. That's a quick minute or two fine tuning of the health bar. I'm just going to change the text to give it an outline size to 1, and the outline colour is black. So as you can see, it stands out. Let's just show what I've done in game. If I've gone over this too fast, just go back and just step through it step by step, and you'll understand what I've done. Maybe take time to pause it and stuff. So yeah, as you can see, the health bar stands out 10 times better, which is perfect. So now let's create a timer for the game. So that I want the timer to be shown centrally at the top. So first thing I'm going to do is go into the timer with the player HUD, sorry, and create another text block. So I'm just going to copy this one, Control V, change this to, I think I'm going to change it to timer text, or time text sounds better. Perfect. Also going to want to need a function. So this function is going to be public because I'm going to be calling it from other classes. Void game, we're going to call it game time because it's the time in the game. We can call this whatever you want, but I'm just going to call it game time for now, lowercase v. And then it needs to take in 2 variables, a float for minutes, so I'm going to call mins. The second one is float for seconds. I'm not going to try and say it out now because it sounds, the way I've wrote it does sound very suspicious. So I just need to generate that function. I did not put a semicolon on the end there. Perfect. So in game time, we're gonna pass in the variables that get passed into it. Oh, I've done a small mistake. It's an OCD thing. Capitalize min and seconds. Go back into there. Just change that to quick. Sorry about this, guys. It's just I'm quite OCD with this stuff. You'll understand if you program yourself. You do get very OCD. So the first one's going to be in. The first thing I'm going to add is an F string to convert it. So game time string. That's why it auto-corrected it for me. Game time min string, I'm going to call that. And then it's changing the minutes to pass into an F string. Next one will be seconds. Capital S there, silly me again. Pass that in. Perfect. So now I need to do a quick if-else statement. So how I'm going to describe this to you is, if the seconds is less than or equal to 9, we need to put a 0 in front of it, because the float will be passing in. When it goes below 10, it won't be 0, 9, it'll just be 9. So we need to pass in that 0, because otherwise, just imagine, I'll show you right now, just here. So this is what our timer text will look like, will be 0015. But because I'm passing in a float that's seconds, if the float goes down to 9, it'll just pass it in like this. So what we're going to do is pass in a 0. And then every time it goes down, 8, 7. So basically, that's what we're doing. Somehow I feel like I've described that in a very weird way. But it is what it is. Set timer text. We do want it like that, but what we're going to do, the first thing we're going to do is pass in a 0, because our game is going to be 5 minutes. This could be done for, if you've got more than 10 minutes, you'll need to do this twice for minutes and the seconds. So like I just said with the thingy, if it's 10 minutes and then goes down to 9 minutes, it'll just show that. So you'll need to manually put the 0 there, so you do another if statement. But at the moment we're just doing 5 minutes, so you could take what I've done for the seconds and easily transfer it over into the minutes. So I'm going to do that. So the time min string plus, for this one we are going to pass the 0 in if it goes below 9 seconds, and then the else will be exactly the same but without the 0. We just need like that. So that'll be like, if that one's 20 seconds, it'll show 2 and 0. Perfect. So that's the HUD done. Let's jump into Unreal and add this in. We do need to live code it, so let's do that. Live coding has succeeded. Perfect. Let's add the text in that we need now. So I'm just going to get some text. Go to the top, anchor it to the top. Oh, I did that wrong. Oh, which one? Position Y. I like to have this 0.5. You can just copy along. And we're going to have that at 36. Yeah, line size 1. So yeah, we're just going to type in the text, and that can be 00. Well, I'll just put it 5 minutes because that's what we're going to do it as for now, but it'll automatically change if we put 10. Just line up and try and make it look a little bit better. Just put the position X so it's centered on the screen there. Maybe 48. Center again. Let's have a quick look of how it looks. Oh no, we haven't linked it up. Time text we need to call it. There, we've linked it up. This won't actually count down. We need to make the functionality to make it count down, but as you can see there, I've got 5 minutes on screen. I'm just going to put it a bit higher. It seems a bit too high. Too low, sorry. That looks a bit better. Right, so next we're going to make a game mode base. Have I saved all that up? No, there we go, save. So I'm going to make a quick folder. I'm just going to call it framework. For any future blueprints I make, this will be for when I've completed my game mode. So let's just call it game mode. So game mode base is in common classes. I'm just going to call it level game mode. I don't want to call it base at the end. Just call it level game mode. Create the class. Now that the class has been created, the CPP, got the H there, perfect. Let's clean it up like I normally do. So the first thing we're gonna do is make a private section. It's automatically private, but I will be having public areas. So first thing is a virtual void begin play, perfect. Jumped straight up for me. A U property, edit anywhere for this one. Going to be float game time min. I'm going to set that to 5 minutes. Then a U property anywhere for game time seconds is going to be 0. So it starts at 5 minutes. We're going to do some 2 getters for this. This is why I've done a private section. We need a public section because I don't want any other class to be able to get my gamer time minutes and seconds and change them from any other class. That's why we're just going to have getters just to access them and read them and then push it straight into the HUD. So we're going to do a force inline, or capital force inline, yeah, there. It sometimes does this, it's quite annoying, auto corrects to it. So force inline float, still got caps lock on. So get game time, it's automatically done it for me there, get game time min. So then I'm going to put a quick comment saying what it does, returns, copy that, game time min. And then I'm just going to duplicate this one. Me just being a bit lazy, hold Alt, pull it down. This one can be seconds. Perfect, seconds. Oh, these need, put them as const. Probably best. Yeah, constant there. Perfect. So there's the timer and the seconds. I need 3 other things. I need another U property for F timer handle for my timer function in C++. So U property F timer handle. Then we're just going to call it time handle. Nothing crazy. It don't know what happened there, but yeah, time handle. Perfect. Now I'm going to add 2 functions. One is the function that will be getting updated by this timer handle, and that function is going to be called game time. The second is going to be a function which I can just show you how to add time to your thingy. Add time and take away time will essentially be the same thing. Just void add time, and then I'm going to pass in a float, which is time to add. So let's just make those functions. Generate definitions, go back to the H, we need the begin play as well. So we'll start off in the begin play. In the begin play, we now need, sorry about that, we now need the timer. So we're going to go get world. Get world, get timer manager, and then we do set timer. Yeah, it's included. Just so you know, this might not automatically do it for you on Visual Studio. You'd include timer manager.h and include engine/world.h, and then we're going to pass in the timer. So I'm going to show you how to do this. The object I'm passing it in is this, and then the function that you want it to go into will be game time, so it's a level game mode game time, and then the next thing we're passing in is how often you want it to go into that function. So I want it every second, and then I almost finished it. I want it loop is set to false automatically, so make sure to click it as true. So we set timer, You've got the timer handle, which is there. Then you've got the in-object, which the user class, which is this. The delegate you're passing through is the game time function I've created, which isn't filled out, as we will do now. The in rate is how often you want it to go in, how often you want to fire, so every 1 second. And then bool B in loop is do you want to loop true or false? We do want it to loop. And then if you can also add after the true or false, whichever one you pick, which we're picking true here to loop. There's in first delay. That's basically like how long you want it to, because this starts on begin play, how long you want it to wait to kick off this function. So I could put 10 seconds, and then this will get the whole function will get fired for the first time in 10 seconds time. So the time in seconds for the first iteration of a looping timer. So that's perfect. That's the timer set up. Very simple. If you have any questions, just leave a comment and I'll try and explain the best I can. So when this gets called, we want to take a second off the game timer seconds. So that we could just have minus minus, or some people like to put minus equals 1, so it takes off 1 second. It's basically just the same thing. Well, it is, but yeah. Then we need to check if gamer time seconds is less than, if it's less than 0 and gamer time min is more than 0. If that's true, we want the gamer time seconds. Auto corrected to that one. We want no gamer time min first. Game time min to take 1 off, so take 1 off the minute arc, and then reset So we want the gamer time min to take off a second, and then gamer time seconds is equal to 59. There we go. Perfect, so we've got that bit done. And then we can do another if statement, which we shouldn't really be doing 2 if statements for the minute, but we're just going to do it this way. If gamer time seconds is less than or equal to 0 and gamer time min, oh, it's the wrong way. Actually, just keep it the same way. I'm just going to call it either way. I just like having seconds first on, but yeah, does the same thing whichever way around it is. Then this will be game ended. So you could have your functionality to call like a game end screen or whatever you'd want in here, or just have a variable to say game ended and then in another class like player controller show the end screen. But I'm going to show you how to clear the timer and stop the timer. So we'll do get world again, and it's automatically done it for me. I just typed in get world, it did the rest for me. Get timer manager, then you need .clear timer, so it clears the timer handle that's been passed in. Just while we're here, if you wanted to pause a timer, I'll just show you dead quick. You've got pause timer and you pass in the handle you want to pause. And then to unpause it, if you were like, let's say you had a part in the game where you want the timer to stop for some reason, you could just click pause timer, and then after like say a duration of time, you could do unpause timer to continue the game countdown. So yeah, there's both of them there. If you do have any questions about the timer function, which most people just generally use it like this, it's better than using tick, because tick always ticks for, I think it's 60 times a second, whereas with a timer you can just say, you could set it to 0.1 if you wanted, so just 10 times a second, or you could just set it like myself, I just want to do once every second, which is perfect. So perfect, there we have it. I'm just going to quickly show you an add time function. So what we could do, we could have game timer seconds, time to add, plus the time to add. Then if gamer time seconds is more than 60, more than or equal to 60, we want game timer min plus plus, So that adds an extra minute because that means it's more than 60. And then we need to minus the 60. So let's say it was 55. You add on time to add was 20. It would go to 75. So it would take 60 off, leaving you 15 seconds. But then add a minute mark on, so it'll be 1 minute 15, which is correct. So yeah, I don't think I need to explain any more about that logic. But if I do, just let me know. Obviously, there's always different ways of doing everything. This is how I've done it. So now what we need to do, we've got this function all set up. We need to go in the player controller. We need to call it from the player controller to update your HUD. So first thing we want in the player controller, I want a function called void time tick. I wasn't sure what to call it, so I went time tick. If you can think of a better name, that's perfect. But yeah, so you don't need any parameters to pass in. I'm just going to function. Perfect. And then another thing you want is a U property. And then we're going to have another F timer handle. We'll call this one just time handle. Yeah, time handle. Sorry, I was just looking at some notes just in case I forgot something. And one more thing we just need is the game mode. So I'm going to make a T-object pointer, because the old way of doing pointers is redundant. It's basically it's best if you don't use them. Always remember to use T-object pointer. I can't remember the word what it is when, yeah, they don't really use it anymore. But anyway, A-level game mode. If I wasn't recording, I'll probably remember the name of it, but because I'm recording, my brain goes a bit lula. Anyway, so let's make this function time tick. I've made the A-level game mode and called it game mode for T-object pointer. So we need to go into begin play. We need to caster it. Doing it in begin play because we only need to do it once. I'm also gonna, what I think I'm gonna do is take some health off the player for every second it goes down to show the function works as well. So what the first thing we're gonna do is we need to cast the game mode. Game mode equals cast to a game. Why is it doing this, mate? Isn't that capital C? Remember, you gameplay statics, get game mode. Getting you gameplay statics, get game mode, and the object is the, you could do this or get world, whichever you feel comfortable with. I use both sometimes. So I don't think I've got game mode in here. I need to hashtag include. Hashtag include. Why is it autocorrecting when I don't want it to? Level. Game mode H. Oh, I've put the wrong one in. That's probably why. Perfect. So that's cast into it, and now we need to make another timer function. We've used the time before, so I'd just like to copy and paste and just change it accordingly. So go back to the CPP on there, copy this one in. I can't remember what I called the handle, so I'm going to type in handle, so hopefully it comes up. I'm sure I called it time handle. Timer handle. I'm passing in the wrong function, so we want it to be a HUD series time tick. In rate, I'm going to put it 0.5 just to make sure it doesn't miss a second, because sometimes it can do that. So that's perfect. I've done another time on this one, and then I use player HUD. Game time. I clicked game time, but it didn't want to do it, so I'm just going to type it out. Game time. Then I'll pass in the game mode. What I'm going to do is get the time in minutes. Do the same again. Game time seconds. And you know what I'm going to do? Player HUD. Set health bar. Actually, nah. Don't need that anymore. I know it works. Perfect. I think that's everything set up. Let's jump into UE. So now live coding is done. I just need to make the level game mode class. So we're going to make a blueprint class. I'm just going to put it in the framework folder for now. I'm going to call it BP _ level game mode. It should automatically open. That's perfect. Save it there. Dock it in there. So the player control class is the standard one. We have the BP first person controller. Default pawns first person character BP, just changing that. And then there's nothing else you have to change. And that is your character linked up to the standard project. Let me just check I've got all the UI working perfectly. Yeah, it's all in there. I forgot to link something, so just give me a moment. So I found out a small problem. One thing I forgot to do was in the world settings, do game mode override and put the game mode. So it would be BP level game mode. Sorry about that. Small little mistakes to make. So as you can see, the timer is ticking down. So that's all for the video. If you need any help with anything, just leave a comment. If I've not explained something right, just leave a comment asking how to do something. I'll try my best to explain it to you. For the next video, if you would like me to do anything else regarding the HUD, I think I may do one to do with animations. I've got a couple of things lined up in a little list, so just let me know what you'd like to see and I'll try my best to get round to it. I most likely will get round to it because I'm just trying to help people with C++ in Unreal Engine, as there's not many people on YouTube that do it. But anyway, I hope you do like this video and it has been helpful. Please make sure to, if you did like it, like the video and potentially subscribe. But that's all for today, guys. Thank you for watching. Have a good one. So I'm going to quickly show it going down to 359. Sorry for the little gap there. Goodbye.